for 2024 to the Japanese organization Nihon Hidankyu. This grassroots movement of atomic bomb survivors from Hiroshima and Nagasaki, also known as Hibakusha, is receiving the Peace Prize for its efforts to achieve a world free of nuclear weapons, and for demonstrating through witness testimony that nuclear weapons must never be used again. In response to the atomic bombs attacks of August 1945, a global movement arose whose members have worked tirelessly to raise awareness about the catastrophic humanitarian consequences of using nuclear weapons. Gradually, a powerful international norm developed, stigmatizing the use of nuclear weapons as morally unacceptable. This norm has become known as the nuclear taboo. The testimony of the Hibakusha, the survivors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, is unique in this larger context. These historical witnesses have helped to generate and consolidate widespread opposition to nuclear weapons around the world by drawing on personal stories, creating educational campaigns based on their own experience, and issuing urgent warnings against the spread and use of nuclear weapons. The Hibakusha helps us describe the indescribable, to think the unthinkable, and to grasp the incomprehensible pain and suffering caused by nuclear weapons. The Norwegian Nobel Committee wishes nevertheless to acknowledge one encouraging fact. No nuclear weapons have been used in war in nearly 80 years. The extraordinary efforts of Nihon Hidankyu and other representatives of the Hibakusha have contributed greatly to the establishment of the nuclear taboo. It is therefore alarming that today this taboo against the use of nuclear weapons is under pressure. The nuclear powers are modernizing and upgrading their arsenals. New countries appear to be preparing to acquire nuclear weapons, and threats are being made to use nuclear weapons as part of ongoing warfare. At this moment in human history, it is worth reminding ourselves what nuclear weapons are. The most destructive weapon the world has ever seen. Next year will mark 80 years since 2 American atomic bombs killed an estimated of 120,000 inhabitants of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. A comparable number died of burn and radiation injuries in the months and years that followed. Today's nuclear weapons have far greater destructive power. They can kill millions and would impact the climate catastrophically. A nuclear war could destroy our civilization. The fates of those who survived the infernos of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were long concealed and neglected. In 1956, local Hibakusha Association, along with victims of nuclear weapon tests in the Pacific, formed the Japan Confederation of A and H Bomb Sufferers Organization. This name was shortened to Nihon Hidankyu. It would become the largest and most influential Hibakusha organization in Japan. The core of Alfred Nobel's vision was the belief that committed individuals can make a difference. In awarding this year's Nobel Peace Prize to Nihon Hidankyu, the Norwegian Nobel Committee wishes to honor all survivors who, despite physical suffering and painful memories have chosen to use their costly experience to cultivate hope and engagement for peace. Nihon Hidankyu has provided thousands of witness accounts, issued resolutions and public appeals, and sent annual delegations to the United Nations and a variety of peace conferences to remind the world of the pressing need for nuclear disarmament. One day, the Hibakusha will no longer be among us as witnesses to history, but with a strong culture of remembrance and continued commitment, new generations in Japan are carrying forward the experience and the message of the witnesses. They are inspiring and educating people all over the world. In this way, they are helping to maintain the nuclear taboo, a precondition of a peaceful future for humanity. The decision to award the Nobel Peace Prize for 2024 to Nihon Hidankyu is securely anchored in Alfred Nobel's will. This year's prize joins a distinguished list of peace prizes that the committee has previously awarded to champions of nuclear disarmament and control. The Nobel Peace Prize for 2024 fulfills Alfred Nobel's desire to recognize efforts of the greatest benefit to humankind. Thank you.
Stolt Alsnes, Norwegian TV2. With all the conventional military conflicts going on in the world right now, what, if any, is the signal from the Nobel Committee to world leaders and the conflicting parties?
Our message to world leaders all over the world is that the messages, the stories and testimonies of the Hibakusha is an important reminder of how unacceptable the use of nuclear weapons is. We should listen to their voices, and I hope all leaders take the time to listen to the painful and dramatic stories of the Hibakusha that reminds us that these weapons should never be used again, ever.
I think it's safe to say that you defied most of the speculations this year. Why this kind of prize this year?
When we look at the developments and the conflicts around the world, we see how crucial it is to uphold a nuclear taboo, to uphold the norm saying nuclear weapons should never be used again. The Nihon Hidankyu and the Hibakusha is crucial in this context. All states have the responsibility of the non-use, and those stories are important in that matter.
Have you been in contact with the winners this year, and what were their reactions?
Unfortunately, we have not been able to contact this year's laureate yet, but we hope to do so very soon.
You have yourself said that it's a special year because of the raging conflicts going on. In what way was this year special and more difficult than others?
I think there's many people around the world that see the dark skies on the horizon, conflicts in many places. But with this prize, we also want to lift, we are a global community, and the threat of nuclear weapons could threaten us all.
Ida Lovik, NTB, has, and if so, how has the rhetoric around nuclear weapons lately, especially from Russia, impacted this year's decision?
It is very clear that threats of using nuclear weapons are putting pressure on the important international norm, the taboo of using nuclear weapons. And therefore, it is alarming to see how threats of use is also damaging this norm. to uphold an international strong taboo against the use is crucial for all of humanity.
Hello, Bohumil Radajewski from the Polish television. I want to ask a question. Is that kind of prize actually a judgment from the Nobel Committee that the threat of nuclear weapons being actually used in an open conflict is now a real perspective to be considered?
All words or deeds taken to reduce the nuclear taboo is dangerous for humanity. This year's prize is a prize that focuses on the necessity of upholding this nuclear taboo. And we have all a responsibility, particularly the nuclear powers.
Thank you. I'm Makiko Yanada from the Japanese newspaper Yomiuri Shimbun. As you mentioned, now the 80 years has passed since the usage of the atomic bomb, and the number of survivors are decreasing greatly due to the passing of the time. So, what kind of effect, what kind of encouraging effect do you expect to encourage to deliver the messages by those survivors and also encourage the movement around the world? What kind of momentum do you expect from this year's decision?
We and the Norwegian Nobel Committee see how new generations in Japan is also taking on the responsibilities to tell the stories from August 1945. And as I said in the speech, how new generations, together with the witnesses, are able to inspire and educate people all over the world is crucial to uphold this nuclear taboo against the use of nuclear weapons.
No more questions? Then we end the press conference.
Thank you so much.
Da gjør vi klart til NRK-intervju her. Det er først på siden. Bare ringe litt. Så vi skal bare ringe opp. Ja,
日本医環境の会議は大体オンラインでやろうことになってるんだが、オンライン中止で あるいは東京出てこいって言われるかもわからん。まあそんな感じで、おそらくこれからのことをすぐ考えな間に合わないのでね、日本医環境の本部も大変だろうも、来年の3月みんなで行こうじゃないかなった時に、もう間に合わん、支度が間に合わないって日本医環境の事務局言うたんやな。ホテル飛行機ね取るのがね、30人も50人も行くのが。それだから来年の3月は無理だの。まあ私も知りたいけど無理かわからんが、今回のようにね、ノルウェー、オスロの方へ行くことになると、これは少々無理してもいかないけど、この前はエミレーツ航空でね、成田からドバイへ飛んで、ドバイからまた乗り換えて行きましたがね。
被団協が受賞されたということで、今その核の脅威にさらされている国が多い状況ですけれども、そういう状況に対してはどういう訴えを今後する？
もうそれはね、核兵器は絶対になくしてほしい。今国連で認められてるの5つの国がいることになってるね。アメリカ、イギリス、フランス、中国、ロシア。でもそれ以外の国々もだんだん核兵器を持つようになってね。核兵器があるから世界は安全なんじゃという言い方をされるわけですね。それでもね、核兵器があればテロが狙うかもわからんよ。どっかのミスでまた爆発するかもわからんし、本当に、例えばロシア、ウクライナの方へ、イスラエル、ガザの方へ使ったら、そこだけですみませんからね、ヨーロッパの国で、その周り全部大きな核被害を受けることになる。そのことを政治家はやっぱり知るべきだと思いますよ。
被団協はその被爆